Welcome, dear children. Here, in our previous class, we had discussed the part 1 version of On Children. There, we had discussed about the poet and the first stanza, okay, about On Children. Now, in this class, we'll be discussing the next stanza, that is the second stanza. So, I just brush up your knowledge of the first part. Your children are not your children. The poet is speaking in a philosophical way, okay, as he has taken the extract from the poem On Children written from the book called Prophet. Your children are not your children. The prophet is speaking this to the women. The women represents the whole humanity. The women and the baby represents the whole humanity. Women represents the parents' faculty and the child represents the whole humanity, children's faculty. So you need to understand this, okay, symbolical way of understanding things. And the prophet symbolically narrates things in a way where parents have to pay responsibility to grow their children in a more better way. Hence he is telling, he is detaching the love of their parents, too much of love of their parents towards their children, and he is somewhere making them to know that the supreme God is controlling the entire universe. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You can see part 1 version. There I have explained the entire things in a detailed way. Now, the next part of the stanza tells you, you may give them your love, but not your thoughts. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. What does this line refers? See, usually the poet has the responsibility. The prophet has the responsibility to show towards the parents that parents' responsibility to give the birth of the child doesn't end there. After giving birth to the child should be taken care of in a well-mannered way. If you have put a tree in a garden, okay, if you put a seed in a garden, until it is grown as a tree, the gardener looks after it, isn't it? Similarly, the seed that has been put in the soil, here, the seed is the child, okay. So in this way, if you understand, things will be better. The flower, okay, are children. If parents are gardener, then gardener will take care of the flower and the trees there, isn't it? Similarly, the parents' responsibility is just like a gardener looking towards the flowers there. The flowers will grow automatically. See, if the gardener holds the flower and stands there, it will never grow. If he ties it tightly also, it will never grow. If he doesn't care also, it will never grow. So proper attention and care should be required then and there, wherever it is necessary. Too much tightening and too much loosening is not required there. Too much of attention and too much of detachment is also not required. As much as it is required, the parents are meant to give so much of love to them and take care of them. So if the flower is to be grown in a proper way, it needs to be nurtured, it needs to be watered, isn't it? So similarly, parents' responsibility is to take care of the child. They need to water, it means they need to give them love. They should give them their affection. They should teach what is right and what is wrong. They should make them realize things in a better way. So this is how the child grows. So this is what the poet is trying to tell you. You may give them your love, but don't impose your thoughts. That your thoughts, suppose if you have an intention that your child should become a doctor or an engineer, you are just imposing your thoughts. You are not letting your child's thought to be seen at all. What the child wants to become, you are not at all focusing on that. Okay, after all, you are the parent of the child. Yes, you have certain responsibility and you are thinking, but the prophet is telling that don't impose your thoughts on them. Let them be free enough to choose their thoughts. Okay, that doesn't mean that you should totally neglect them. No, you should be there to guide them, but don't impose your thoughts. That's why he's telling, give them your love. The love of the parent is the what we call the right of the child, isn't it? So, but don't give them your thoughts. Okay, then what else the parents should do? For they have their own thoughts. They refer to the children here. Though you may tell hundreds of things to them, they will be doing their own things, isn't it? So they have their own thoughts. For their thoughts, okay, you may house their bodies but not their souls. As I've told you in part 1, certain babies are not born with life. They are born dead, isn't it? So certain babies are born with life. They are called alive. So what makes the difference is, if they are breathing, it is life. If they are not, it is not life, isn't it? So similarly, you can give house to their bodies. That means physically you can give them shelter. But can you give a shelter to the soul? Can you give shelter to the soul? No. The soul doesn't need shelter at all. The soul is entire in itself. Okay. So in the parents also there is a soul. In children also there is soul. This soul is connected to the Supreme Soul, and he is somewhere responsible for the life of the child. Entire responsibility is of the child itself, because it has come out of the Supreme Soul to have certain experience. See, as human beings, we are getting ample of experience. This is what we had thought and we had come to the world. And after our role finishes, okay, we will go back and merge with that Supreme Soul. This is just a drama. Hence, the prophet is trying to explain all these things. Just imagine, why I have taken this slide is, you may think this is out of context. No, it is not out of context. This is just an imaginary picture of our galaxy, how it looks like. And it is showing you are here somewhere in the dot. The dot is also not seen. And if you see that Earth is one of the planets there, that planet system is also not seen in this galaxy. Then can you just imagine the supreme power of God? Can we just imagine how He is? No, it is beyond our perceptions. It is beyond what we think. Hence, the child is a gift of God to the parents. The parents should take care of the child. They should pour out their love, but they should never impose their thoughts. Sometimes it is obvious that parents think, yes, I did not become this or that, and my child should become this or that. That means I did not become a doctor, at least my child should become a doctor. This is just an imposition of their thoughts to the child, but they are least bothered about what the child is thinking, isn't it? The child may think something different. The child wants to become a teacher. The child may want to become a lawyer. The child may want to become a lecturer, depending on her own thoughts. Okay, parents may give suggestion, but that suggestion should not become imposition. So our entity in this supreme cosmos is very small. See, parents can pour out their thoughts, they can teach good ethics, they can show them everything that they want, okay, but they should never impose their thoughts on them. They give their love, they should give their love, but never impose their thoughts. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. If you give them your thoughts, it is your thoughts, it is not their thoughts. That you should remember, okay. I hope these things are very clear for you, children. Now we are just moving on to the next line. I hope these things are very clear to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for their thoughts dwells in the house of tomorrow. Okay, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwells in the house of tomorrow. Here soul refers to their dream. What dream you are trying to tell them, what you are trying to suppress them, what you are imposing on them. It is not necessary they should listen the same things. Okay, you may be their parent, no doubt, but they have their own thoughts, for their thoughts are always about tomorrow, which you cannot even visit in your dream. The next line of the poem is telling, even in your dream you cannot think what the child is thinking about. This is not possible, isn't it? The poet is telling in the same way. You may strive to be like them, pour out everything that you want to your child. See, parents take lot of responsibility to make the child grow. It is not that easy that to grow a family, isn't it? To bring up the family financially, economically, emotionally, everything counts here. So the parent takes the responsibility of a child, and he see, father goes to earn, mother is comparatively at home looking after the children, and these days mother also goes out to earn. Okay, so somewhere they want to balance these things, and okay, so they want to make it sure that their children are grown in a best way, that they are pouring out everything to them. So you are free to do that, you are supposed to do that, but what you are not supposed to do is just don't make them think like you. Okay, but seek not to make them like you. It is not necessary that the son should be like father or father should be like son. See, father is a different entity, son is a different entity altogether. They both are different, isn't it? So these things matters a lot, for their life goes not backward nor tarries with yesterday. Always time is moving on forward, isn't it? It never comes back. Similarly, whatever culture that you are giving to the child, it is going on with them, it never comes back. So what you try to do is give them your full love to them, but don't impose your thoughts on them, for they have their own thoughts. They have their own thoughts. Okay, their thoughts which you cannot even visit in your dream. Okay, so these things I hope children are very clear to you. They have their own thoughts. See, I have prepared a slide for you where children are playing their own games. Now here parents can't come here and do their games here, isn't it? So children are sitting and thinking about their future. See, if a child falls, the child will get up. The parent is not necessary to be there and make the child to get up. The child falls, the child will get up. If the child is making an error, the child will come to know. But yes, as a parent, you should guide them, you should give them suggestion, this is right, this is wrong. That is your duty. But don't impose your thoughts. I hope the second stanza is also quite clear for you. The part second ends here. We'll meet with the part third in our next session. I hope the second concept is very clear for you. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Thank you.